women's issue. I'm not grounded in the philosophy and, all this sophisticated reasoning. I'm just a grassroots conscious person, and I've been since I was little. So this is just about my personal story. So this is what I want to share. From being a young girl, being raised as a Christian, from a very strong Christian background, to becoming an atheist, and also raising a child as well. I'm originally from Nigeria. I'm from the Yoruba tribe. I would say that I've been a feminist from the age of 5, long before I came across the word, long before I knew what it was about. Because a lot of times, if you are an atheist, if you are a feminist, if you have certain ideas, people think you are westernized and that you have been influenced by the West. And sometimes when people want to hurt you or to cheer you or to belittle you, that's where they go to. They will say you are white. You are trying to be white. But I will say boldly and truthfully that I learned the position of women, what women are, truly are. From growing up, I grew up in small villages most of the time, most of my life in Nigeria. From seeing what the women were like, from understanding the Yoruba tradition, from my mother, from my grandmother, from my aunties. In the Yoruba tradition, I would say it is unusual. The status of Yoruba women is unusual. There are many tribes like that around the world, many groups like that around the world, but the Yoruba case is one of the unique ones. In the Yoruba tradition, in the religion, unlike the Abrahamic religion, if you are of Abrahamic faith, I'm sorry, I come from there, everybody I love is from there. It's not a personal thing, it is my own take on religion. I love my family, I love my best friend is religious. So sometimes when I'm talking about my experience with Christianity, people want to take it personally. It's not like that. I love people, I love Christians, I love people regardless of their religion, but I have to be able to talk about how I feel too about religion. So please, if you are of Abrahamic faith, I still respect you and I still will love you if I know you as a person. In the Yoruba tradition, when Olodumare is the Almighty God, when he was, in fact, I'm sorry I use the word he, and that's a habit I've got from growing up as a Christian. The Olodumare, the God of the Yoruba, has no gender, but I still will sleep now and again to using the word he because of my program. It doesn't go away sometimes. Olodumare, when he was creating the world, thank goodness, started the world from Yoruba land, of course. And he sent, or she sent, God to earth to start everything. And there were Yoruba female gods. And one of the most important gods is Oshun. And one of the gods sent and is respected by male and female, and she is a leading god in the Yoruba tradition. So this is what I learned this from an early age. And I saw my grandmother was a trader, a very successful one, very independent, and my mother too, she was a head teacher, and I was raised as an Adventist, and I couldn't understand, I couldn't reconcile what they were teaching in church, what my father was saying. I couldn't reconcile it with Oshun, with Iyemoja, with all the gods and the goddesses. I couldn't reconcile it with the role I was saying of our women, even our political structure. We will have, obviously, the king was Oba, but we had the yellow days, the female chief, and very prominent, very vocal, very powerful in every village. And the market in Yoruba land is the center of commerce and is run by women, even until this day. And the women, they were the center of the economy. And way before labor in the West, way before they were talking about strike, we were doing it. My mothers and my grandmother, if they were on strike, everything was down. So the women, they were a force to be reckoned with. They were a center of everything. They were part of everything. They were part of the political and economic structure. And I couldn't understand it when they would teach it in church, that the man was the head of the house, that in the Seventh-day Adventist church, a woman could not be a pastor. You know, it was really forceful. And then I would still go back to history. People thought that in Nigeria now, Christianity is becoming a problem, as far as I'm concerned. It's almost beyond religion. It is a movement, I would say. The Pentecostal churches in Nigeria, they become a philosophical force, a political force, and economic force as well. In Nigeria, most people, it's almost as if there's no choice. It's either you are a Christian and a fundamental one, a Pentecostal one, praising the Lord, jumping up and down, or you are a Muslim. And there are not many people in between. And, you know, this message about the man being the top and the women there is something that came, at least into the Yoruba land, through Christianity. And this book, I'm going to recommend it if you want to know a bit more about Yoruba women. It's a shame, but I'm proud of her. She's an American lady. I wish it was a Yoruba woman that wrote the book, but she's an American lady, a professor. And she did a good research. She's very factual. She went back to the history, to the religion, to politics and everything. So her name is Marjorie Keniston McIntosh. If you, it's a great book. When Christianity came, people resisted it. People really did not want it. It did not make sense. It did not make sense at all. But then it was a way out. People that adopted Christianity and took on Western education, because the colonial people, they needed staff. They needed people to run the council. And people that got education, that got Western education, life became easier for them. They were able to live hard work of the farms, and they were the richest. They became the top people in the society. So it was through education, really. And for a long time, even till a little bit of it till now, for a long time when I was growing up in Nigeria, people would go to church. And people would still do their traditional belief. They didn't really, they didn't feel that it was strong enough. They didn't feel. And some of them in order, and you still find that in Pentecostal churches, in order for them to be able to be comfortable with Christianity, they had to mix it. So they were, worshiping in churches in a way similar to what our foreparents used to do. And that's why, a lot of time you find hard-beating drums and the rhythms and everything is still, and it's very forceful, and sometimes you see them going into trance. And when they are going, when I went to Nigeria in January, I went to the Osun Shrine. I don't believe in these things in terms of, I don't have spiritual beliefs or supernatural beliefs, but I enjoy the cultural aspect of it, the history aspect of it. I find it very interesting, very intriguing, and very empowering. When I was there, actually I went with my brother, a pastor, and perhaps because of our upbringing, he's also open-minded, so we were able to enjoy that, not because of the belief, but because of the stories there and the culture and everything. And then there were people there speaking in tongues and being in frenzy and being in spirit. And I said to him, this is exactly what happened. Do you remember that? And we were talking about that this is exactly what happens when you go to a lot of Pentecostal churches, especially African churches. So you will see the infusion of the traditional worship in the way they worship in the churches. But how were they able to successfully get us? I will read from page 44 of this book. One of the greatest attractions of the Christian missions and one of the most powerful forces of change introduced by them was Western education, because the missionaries wanted to modify many aspects of children's lives, not just providing training in Christianity. They favored boarding school. What they did was to take children from their parents, away from all the influences, so that they could have total control of the mindset. And then what they did, and what was not in our culture, because sometimes people say, this is not our culture. Our culture is for men to do this. That was not from our culture. They will say things like, a lot of things that people say is not our culture. Homosexuality is not our culture. No, that was Christian culture. That was European culture that they brought to us. That's not what we are. If you want to know what we are, go and read our history. Go and learn from the old people that are in the village. They will tell you what our real culture is. If you look into Shango, Shango is a god, is usually a man, but that would dress like a woman. That's and the followers. So there was all these gender issues and variety of sexuality, everything was in our culture. But now people don't know what is Christianity anymore and what is in our culture because it's been fused. So what the missionaries did was they offered girls different curriculum from that offered to boys, from the founding of 4 schools. And then I will jump to the most interesting part. The subject taught them, as far as we know, very suitable. This is about girls. They are directed to make them useful in their homes. What they did, they taught them sewing, even baking. We didn't have flowers, They were teaching them sewing and cooking and baking. And this is what they reduced Yoruba women to. We were farmers, we were traders, we were politicians, we were economists, we were running the society. But the Christian missionaries, they took the girls and then started programming the minds and then reduced women into this role. And if you remember, our president, I think it was early this year, in Germany, in front of Angela Merkel, was saying that his wife belonged in 2 places, in the kitchen and in the bedroom, on an international platform. That's what, that is not in our tradition. Anyway, so I grew up with this conflict And I remember asking my question. Thankfully, I had, my father was open to my question. He wasn't comfortable with my question, but he would allow me to answer questions. And I would say to him, why are they saying men are the head of the house? From the age of 5, I was really disturbed. And then he would say, oh, you know, because the culture, and I would say, no, but you wear English clothes, you eat with, you know, why are you choosing, you are choosing what you want from the culture, and you are choosing what you want from the religion, whatever suits you. And my father would be frustrated. And I would say, you know, both of you went to work. Why did you go to work? My mom, you came back home at the same time. Why is my mom in the kitchen? And he would say to me, okay, anyway, your mom doesn't want me in the kitchen. So, you know, I went through all of that. And my mom, I remember my mom really worried about me throughout her life. She was always worried about me. And then she would say to me, you know, my name, she would say it in the Yoruba way. And anytime she was upset, ordinarily I was called Lola, but anytime she was upset, she would call me, "Omo Lola, you are not going to be happy. You are not going to be happy in life. You've got to submit to this thing. You've got to submit, you know, you've got to submit to this structure." And I wasn't saying it. I wasn't really saying what she was telling me to submit it. My paternal grandfather had 9 wives. And yes, there was polygamy in our culture. And it's okay, it's not compulsory. You know, some men didn't want it. Some women wanted it. And women that wanted it, they would go and get another wife for the husband. And, you know, some people would say there was something else about that. You know, some women would go and arrange for other women to come into the married home, and then, I don't know, maybe that was their guys in the time to have a relationship with other women. I don't know, but, you know, it's in our culture. Women will marry, and they will call the other women their wives. That's what you call the other woman. That's my wife. So all that is in our tradition. So, but my grandfather had 9 wives, but the women were not. The reason some of the women wanted, you know, people had various reasons they wanted polygamy. But most of the time, for Yoruba women, it was also to free them from having to play that 24-hour role. So it was usually the youngest wife. So as women were developing their businesses and everything, they didn't have as much time for home. So I didn't see the 8 other wives. None of them lived with my grandfather. Only the youngest one lived with my, none of my grandmothers. I saw all of them as my grandmothers, and I loved them. I even preferred some of them to my own biological grandmother. So none of them lived with my grandfather. They would come at, you know, when they wanted, and they had their freedom. None of my maternal grandmother too. She was a business woman, and she was preoccupied with her business. So, and because of all this conflict, my doubt, I went along with religion. I will not say that I didn't believe. I believed when I believed, but I had my questions, I had my doubts, and it pushed me. I always say to myself, I lived at the edge of the society. Even when I was religion, I lived at the edge of it. I was always somebody that made everybody uncomfortable in church. I would always ask questions, and I was always an outsider. I was at the edge, even in church, but I believed. I believed in God when I believed. When I believed, and I was a serious Christian. I used to preach all over the place. So it was not that I was not truthful as a Christian. I was, but I had all my questions. But I went along with religion throughout until I left Nigeria, even after I came here. And, but along the line, all the questions that you have, they don't go away. They kept increasing as I was getting older. And then unfortunately, fortunately for me, unfortunately for my dad, in 2005, he came, to visit me. And my dad loved science, he loved astronomy, especially. And then he used to beg me to watch all these documentaries with him. And I wasn't interested, but he would like persuade me. And one day, I sat down with him, and then I started watching, and I became interested in science, and that really conflicted with everything I've been taught. So I had to make a decision, and I left religion. And that was a very, very difficult time, because everything in the Nigerian society generally, our social life, everything, even economic life, is deeply rooted in religion. Every ceremony, if you go to any typical Nigerian, whether it's naming ceremony or wedding, there will be prayers throughout. It's almost like a religious service. You go to certain parties and you're wondering what is going on, whether it is, they call it casting of demons, and then you'll be thinking, why don't you cast your demons yesterday so that we can just have a party? But it will be demon casting from beginning to the end. But that was our party, that was the way, we enjoy life. So it's like, how do I live? I didn't know how to live. I went into depression. I was saying, sometimes people think, oh, did you just wake up and just say, oh, there is no God or whatever? It doesn't happen like that. It's very traumatic. And one of the things, this session is about parenting. One of the things that you are taught, in Christianity, you have the hierarchy. If there is no man in the house, it's not godly enough. Something is messed up. There is no male figure, no male authority. And it's like, how are you going to do it? Everybody was worried that, my mother was always worried about me. She thought I was going to really mess up in life. I think, and then she was really troubled. She was sending me, she loved me. I don't think anybody loved me more than she did. But she would write me letters of, I'll be going to hell, letters and letters of hell. And I didn't even tell her that I was an atheist. I couldn't tell her, I just left church. That was all I did, and they were sending my uncles to me. One of my uncles called me from Nigeria and blasted me. How are you going to be without the male authority, without the guidance? How are you going to raise a child without religion? I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I know that I wasn't going to do anything bad. And I don't think, apart from leaving church, apart from not being religious, I don't know what has changed. It took time for people to start understanding me. It took years. It was 2005. So it's only in recent times that people are thinking, okay, she's all right. She's okay. Nothing has changed. It seems safe. She's going to talk more about her experience. I think it's not been easy, but then, nothing changed. I had my friends to support me, and that's what I did in religion anyway. I had friends, I had family to be there for me if I needed them, and that's all. whether or not you have God, you still need people. It's always about people. So feel free to